Hi guys, today I'm going to talk about my camera shake tutorial which I originally published on the forums in January 2019. Okay, so I'll just dive right in. So basically I used a background from episode, so Cave Light Day comes from episode. You don't need to upload any background. The forums are closing on June 28th, so which does suck, but this post, it's gonna be on my Instagram as well as on Discord. Anyways, so I'll start now. Zoom on 256, 195 to 195% in zero. And narrator slash NARR, which is short for narrator. Here's an example of the screen shaking. A few things before we start. In zooming, the code is zoom on XY to percent in S. Of course, you'd replace the symbols in the code with actual numerical values. The X value is a number that is along the X axis, so it goes from left to right or right to left. Basically, it's on the horizontal line. The Y value is a number along the Y axis, so it goes from top to bottom or bottom to top. It's on the vertical line. So you can think of this like a graph. Like think of the X axis and the Y axis. The percent is a zoom in. It stands for how much your scene is zoomed in. S is the number of seconds. If you want the camera to shake fast, your seconds should be less than 1, but not 0, so something like 0.1. In the case of zoom on 256, 195 to 195% in 0, the X is 256, the Y is 195, the percent is 195, and S is 0. So hope you got that down, and now we can begin. Time to make the screen shake. First, it will shake horizontally. A horizontal shake can go from either left to right or right to left. So here's an example. I basically bolded what I changed. So you see that it goes from 0 to 256, 0 to 256, 0 to 256, and so forth. Notice how I changed the first value only, the x, and I kept it consistent by using that same value. So it goes left to the value 0 and then to the right to the value 256 and back again. This makes sense when we think about a graph. Think about like the x-axis on the graph. Lower numbers are on the left side while higher numbers are on the right side. Basically, I also brought the zoom back to the original coordinates that I had at the beginning of the scene written under the background. So here we see zoom on 256, 195 to 195% in 0.1. We can see that if we go back up here, it's under Cave Light Day, it says 256, 195 to 195% in 0. So basically, I brought it back to that original zoom. All right, now we're gonna look at a vertical shake. So a vertical shake can go from top to bottom or bottom to top, as I've mentioned. So in this case, it's going from 0 to 195 to 0 to 195 to 0 to 195 and so forth. So you can see how I changed the second value only, the Y, and I kept it consistent by using that same value. So it goes to the bottom to the value 0 and then it goes to the top to the value 195 and back again. Again, think of this like a graph, like the y-axis. Lower numbers are towards the bottom, while higher numbers are toward the top. And then I brought it back to the original zoom that I had at the beginning of the scene, written under the background. So you see here I wrote zoom on 256, 195 to 195% in 0.1. We see that that's also the case if we go back up here under Cave Light Day. Now, I'll go back down. So what if you want your character to do an animation like scream while the zoom is taking place? You need to write either uh, care is animation with the ampersand. Basically, you replace animation with an existing one that actually exists, or care slash character starts animation where also you'd place the care with your character's name. This would go right before those fast zooms are taking place, and basically the camera would shake while the character is doing the animation, so something like scream angry. Anyway, this concludes my, I guess, screen shaking tutorial from the forums. I will also show you the um episode episode for it. Yeah, you can, copy this code into your script and test it out. And if you have any questions, do feel free to, reach out to me on IG, Instagram, or even Discord. You can also have your character speak while the fast zooms are taking place. So here's like an example we see. Basically, you can combine, the then command with the ampersand at the beginning of zoom, and just like have the fast zooms taking place while the character you or any like other character is speaking. So in this case, when you says "nice to meet you," "I'm cool and I know it," blah blah blah. Um, he or she will say that while those zooms are happening. There are some other cool things you can do with the zooms, here, like you see I used scream angry, and the character is doing this while those zooms are taking place. And at the last zoom, I decided to, combine, decided to combine an extra command. I did then zoom on blah blah blah, and you is idle jaw drop all loop, which basically would look pretty funny. I mean, if you think that's funny. Remember, you don't have to use zero point 0.1. You can use like a different number for your camera shake. But I think zero point 0.1 captures it really well. And yeah, camera shakes can also go in both directions, like as we see here. In regards to this camera shake, it went from bottom 0 left 0 to top 195 right to 56, and it repeated until reaching the last shake. Same thing here. It's just like I, made it's opposite direction. Yeah. So now I guess we'll go to the, episode app and check out the tutorial in action. Okay, so now we're, in our story, and I've copied the code from the forums onto the the portal. And yeah, so as I mentioned, the forums are going to be closed soon, so grab the code. But I'll definitely like put it in somewhere else as well. Like as I mentioned, it's already on Discord and on my IG. But maybe I'll put it into Google Drive. I'll see. So here's an example of the screen shaking. Um, so we've already went through the stuff, so we don't have to like repeat it all. Mm, yeah, basically, like you would definitely replace, these symbols with the actual values. Okay, so now we're going to see a horizontal shake in action. Remember, this can go from left to right or right to left. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, so just keep in mind that I changed only the first value. And I kept it consistent by using that same value. Now we're going to see a vertical shake in action. So remember, this is a shake that can go from top to bottom or bottom to top. Also pretty cool, huh? Thanks for checking this out. Have a great day. slash night.